Live each and every day, love and live your way. Do your very best, learn and lead today. Be the best you can, it's your life. Take a stand, so live your best life. Live your best life. Come on and live your best life. With Dr. Julia Royston. Welcome to Live Your Best Life. I'm Dr. Julia Royston. So glad you're here. For I've come that you might have life and have that life more abundantly to the full and overflowing. And that abundant life God intended for you to have, that's what we're going to be talking about in various stages and with various people. My intent for the Live Your Best Life broadcast is always to entertain, inform, and empower you to live your best life. And today I am so excited to have with me Miss Roz Jones, and I want her to first off introduce herself, who she is, what she does.
My name again is Roz Jones. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I am the CEO and owner of Jacksonville's Best Caregivers, where we provide 4 levels of specialized care to your loved one: sitter, homemaker companion, home health aide, and certified nursing assistants. When you can't do it all, you give us a call. Now,
Perfect. So she's got information for you in a general way, and then for those special caregivers, which I know is definitely a big need in a lot of people in a lot of our lives. So let's just start first off with the healthcare situation, period. One of the biggest things, of course, it's expensive. Mm-hmm. And your insurance and what your insurance was a long time ago and what your insurance is now and what the cost and the need and what your policy is may not always agree. So what I want to, first off, for you to give us like just a couple tips on really sorting that out. Where should people go? Because the population is getting older. I'm in my 50s. And so my mother is getting ready to turn 80. So that's a real place for me, what that really looks like. Because she's been fine all this time, but I got to be ready. So what are a couple tips that people really should do at the beginning stages of this? At the beginning, everybody's healthy, but then all of a sudden, we don't know when the health could turn or take a turn for the worse.
And I'm glad you brought that up first, that your health could change. All of us are healthy now, reasonably healthy. Within whatever scope, but our life could change between Sunday to Sunday.
Exactly.
It can change. Car accident, heart attack,
right?
Whatever, stroke, whatever can happen. Before that happens, you should have the conversation about if, as we are growing older, and we have 10,000 people daily that are hitting the Medicare rolls, and then in 2020, we have 117 million people who will need care. Is that...
Say that again. Wait a minute. Say that one more time. The 10,000 a day that are hitting the Medicare rolls. Is that what you said?
10,000 baby boomers every day are hitting the Medicare rolls. And now what's happening is because of that aging population is now hitting that peak. So now is so many people hitting the rolls. Now we're in a healthcare crisis starting in 2020. For the next 5 to 10 years, 117 million people will need care. Only 45 million family members are available for less than 8 hours a week to take care of their loved one.
Okay, so we have almost a 60 million people gap of people who are able to take care of them and people who will be alone. So there could be possibly 60 million people that are going to have some type of care either in their own home or in a facility.
That's it.
Wow. So that's the reason why the facilities are growing, but some of them are very luxurious housing. If you don't have the money for that, what does that look like? And what does that? So do you suggest for those families, for even having the conversation, we haven't even got to the paperwork. We haven't even got to where we're going to live. how we're going to be taken care of. But having the conversation. So what you trying to say? I'm on that. That's a real place. And I know I laugh, but that is so, that age group. What you mean? I ain't dead. I'm still alive. So how do you even start to have that conversation? I mean, it's a real place.
And you know what? You need to have the small conversations, not big.
Okay.
Small. And particularly during the holidays, I tell people, take advantage of the holidays when you go home to visit. Hey, Ma, things are, you're getting older and so am I. If something happens, where's your information? How can I get to it? That's a small conversation. How can I get to your medical insurance? If something would happen, where's your life insurance or your burial insurance? Start there first. Then as maybe in the next holiday, look, if something would happen to you, I have no authority to pay your bills.
Yes.
To keep up your house. Now, if you say no, this is what happens when you say no.
Yes.
You can get evicted from your apartment. Your house can go in foreclosure. Your insurance, life insurance can get canceled. Auto insurance can get canceled. Car can be repoed. And I always tell people now, if your life insurance gets canceled, can you get it back? Yeah. But because you have a pre-existing condition and you let the insurance lapse, now the life insurance is going to be even higher.
My Lord.
Than if you would have gone on and said, I'm going to give you authority. And the power of attorney is just for if I temporarily cannot do some things for myself. You can always change it, but it's only if you are in an incapacitated state for whatever reason, short-term or long-term, and I want these wishes to be carried out according to what I have written down.
Exactly.
And I want people to understand that they think, well, if I put it on there, it's permanent. It's not permanent. It's temporary. It's temporary.
Well, that's good to know. So having those small conversations first, leading up to it, and then, I hate to say this, but sometimes those funerals bring out those conversations. Or having to a GoFundMe page, or we got to pass the hat because Uncle so-and-so didn't have this and Big Mama didn't do that, and that happened and that happened. Then that's another window. It's sad to say, but that's another window for that hard conversation. So having those hard conversations, you got to do that. If you don't do it now, you regret it later. So now we've got to sit down with our options. Hopefully you've had the conversation. It's in the right-hand drawer, in her chest of drawers. It's that box in the closet and all that sort of thing. So what do you suggest for a couple of things before we go to break? What do you suggest for the actual family members? So for this scenario, I don't live near my mother. I'm 4 hours away. If she falls, she could lay there for hours. Something could happen and she can't call me. She can't dial the phone. What are a couple of things that you suggest for the family member that's far away?
For those family members that are far away, these are some of the things that you could implement. If your parents are up to it, they have those alert necklaces and bracelets. So, I've fallen and I can't get up. You see the commercials all the time. The medical alert, it'll have all the medical information in there to contact and rescue. It's fall sensitive. So if they fall, they know automatically 911 will call and say, are you okay? If they don't get a call, then they know to send rescue out.
Right.
That's one way. The other way is similar to like a baby monitor, but it's the security cameras. You can have a security camera, inside the home and outside the home. So if you're a long distance, if anybody's trying to do anything outside, you can see it.
Right.
If anything happens on the inside, you can see it.
So like those Ring where you can, see that somebody drove up or dropped off a package. Okay. So that really helps.
So, those are some inintrusive ways, and your loved ones still can be independent. Now, if you want to make sure that they are eating and keeping themselves clean, you can have someone like my company come in maybe 3 days a week for 3 to 4 hours a day to make sure that they bathe, take their medicine, that their food and refrigerator is clean, because a lot of times elderly people will leave food in there for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it starts to turn into penicillin.
Right.
You don't want them eating that nasty food.
No.
And so you want to make sure that before they get to the stage where they really can't remember, you want to introduce a caregiver into their life while they still can make some decisions.
Right.
You know, so those are the type of things. And also, too, the last thing is I want to say real quickly is make sure on the bank accounts that at the time of death, you all have someone on the beneficiary card. If you don't do anything else today after this, go to the bank and make sure that at the time of death, that someone can get that money, because once the funeral home contacts the Social Security office, they're going to do a nice sweep and everything going to start shutting down. And what's going to shut down? Once they notify Social Security going to notify the bank, and the bank is going to say, okay, this person is dead. Everything's on lock.
Right.
So
and then that, your money, you can't get to your money. And then
then it goes to probate.
Yes.
And the most crucial thing when someone dies is money and the life insurance. And so if you can get that money at the time of death, I don't care if it's $500 or $1,000, you can put that towards the funeral until you get the life insurance. And also, too, every year, check on your life insurance, because let me tell you what's happening. These old mom and pop life insurance companies are selling to the big companies. You don't know if your benefits are the same.
Wow. Okay, so the first thing is we have to have a conversation. That is number one. We have to have a conversation. And then we also have to have smaller conversations. We got to know where our paperwork is. We have to know what our benefits are. And then one other thing that a family member of mine, they lived alone, but their children lived outside of the community in the city. And the child never came to meet the neighbors, the landlord, the neighbors. So when the family member died, everything just, he just basically the landlord just threw the stuff out in the street, and they had it was just a mess. And so I think sometimes people don't understand the importance of having relationships with neighbors, and, you can have that life alert, but also just small things of the neighbors can check on you. That's one thing. I do have relationships with my mother's neighbors on either side of them. And so they check on her if they don't see her, and so we have it's all about relationships, especially as our parents get older. Now, I'm not that far from my mother. I can get to her in 10 to 15, 20 minutes because I'm in the area. But if you're 4 or 5 hours away, your loved one could literally lay there for the longest time and, just really be incapacitated. It can be a really horrible, horrible situation, And
they want to live, it's called aging in place. That's the term that they use now. And they want to stay at home as long as possible. And then they say, okay, in order to do that, I want to encourage you to stay home as long as possible. But I need for you to understand that we got to put some things in place to make sure that you can stay home and safe.
Right.
For your peace of mind and my peace of mind.
Right. Well, we're going to take a break right here. And when we come back, I want to talk about the caregiver side, how we can protect ourselves as the caregiver. What do we need to do? We found out about the patient, my mama, big mama, granny, all them. But what do I need to do to protect myself? We'll be right back.
I know it's been hard. I know it's been rough. The days were long and the nights were